Welcome to Embodied Astrology on this Pisces full moon. I am Elizabeth Coco Ann, and I am here with Fern, my astrologer and astrology teacher, to guide us through the upcoming full moon, and I will interpret it and give some embodiment practices. Welcome. Hi, Fern.
Thank you, Coco. Nice to see you. And so we have full moon in Pisces, sun in Virgo, and we're about a third of the way through Virgo season. So we're getting acquainted with what the Virgo energy or vibe is that we have every year, August 20th to September 20th. And we're kind of at the first, we're at the conclusion of the first third of that on this full moon. So the full moon is at 11 degrees of Virgo, it's 11 degrees of Pisces, the sun is at 11 degrees of Virgo. So if you have any planets around those degrees in the mutable signs, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, you're going to be feeling this full moon more than everybody else. And the energetics of the full moon in Pisces are Pisces, the water sign, and it is a sign that has to do with letting go of ideas, expectations, being in a control position. Pisces is very much about going with the flow and allowing life to happen. It's a sign of magic and mystery. So in Virgo season, which is so much about the practical day-to-day, how do you take care of your body? How do you take care of, your environment? How do you relate to the earth plane? Or just being reminded of the other side of life, the other component of life. So there's not a lot of big aspects to other planets happening on this full moon, but there is a sextile from Uranus to the moon in Pisces and a trine to the sun in Virgo. So that brings a nice kind of excitement and a little bit of buzz and electricity to this lunation. And yeah, just check in with you, Coco, and see if you got anything to add to this.
In general, so we've got the sun right now it's moving through a third of its way through Virgo, and it's opposing the moon in Pisces, and that's the main signature in relation to the moon's aspects, like what the moon's doing with other planets or what the sun's doing. Is that, other than the part I wasn't certain of, is what we going, because I could expand on the Virgo Pisces, which I think we really should today, because it's a fun, for me, it's a fun one to work, because it's both very practical and very artistic, and creates order while really letting go. To work it, to know when things need order and when things don't, is for me an art of the Virgo Pisces, which can be kind of a fun, in relation to embodiment, a fun thing to work. That I don't know if we want to dive in further into that one first, maybe, so we could talk more about the Virgo Pisces polarity, and then look at the layers.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest, or what are some offerings of that polarity for you, of the Virgo Pisces?
Right, offerings. Well, I think for me, because this full moon happens every year. Every year we have a full moon and with the Virgo Pisces polarity. And it's always kind of a pause point, a reminder to me in the middle of this Virgo season to remember the magic in life, because I am a Virgo, it's my season and I feel good in this season. I feel like, okay, I want to like organize things and clean things up and cook a lot and, get all my herb jars in order, alphabetize them. And it feels really grounding and purifying and just getting everything in order. It feels really good to me. But I do know that Virgo energy can be taken to excess, and it's like then you're over, trying to perfect everything, and you lose some of that magic and juice and spontaneity, and that is Pisces. So the full moon at this point in the season is just a reminder to integrate that, to have that kind of practical magic piece, but not to leave the magic out of the practical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think Uranus's contribution to this full moon with the sextile makes it all a little bit more interesting, gives it a little zing to the polarity.
Uranus sextiling what again?
Okay, so Uranus is sextiling the sun, sextiling the moon in Pisces and trine the sun in Virgo. So Uranus, Taurus and Earth sign, and it's at about 10 degrees of Taurus right now, and the sun is at 11 degrees of Virgo. So we've got this lovely trine, and actually there's a looser trine to Capricorn, Jupiter in Capricorn. So we have an almost Earth grand trine with the sun, Uranus, and Jupiter. The Jupiter one is a little bit wider, but that's a really nice combination. It's like, balanced and grounded and practical and earthy, but some interesting planets involved. Jupiter and Uranus, surprises and growth and opportunities in the practical realm. So
moving retrograde. Both Uranus and Jupiter are moving retrograde right now.
They are.
A bit of a twist. There's so much retrograde action going on right now, which is revision, review, reorientate, reperceive, rest, restore, and in the heavy hitting planets, in the outer planets. We've got in Capricorn still, all of them are moving backwards as they're going into squares with Mars that's about to head backwards, right?
Yes, and so that's actually, thanks for reminding me about that, because when I was pondering this full moon and just kind of trying to get a sense of it and, kind of catch the scent, I was imagining that this full moon is like almost like a pause point before we dive into September, which has a lot going on. So it's a kind of a chance to get, our bodies, but also our spirits kind of organized and like in good shape to, to wake us up a little bit in that way before we kind of jump into the swirling pool of planetary energies, which are going to be really shifting and changing this month. And so as you pointed out, Mars is going to go retrograde on September 9th, and then Jupiter goes direct on September 13th. So that's a big shifting there. And also, like you said, when Mars goes retrograde on September 9th, there's a number of squares and oppositions and different more tense aspects that are activating that Mars energy. So there's a lot more action happening, I think, in a retrograde fashion.
And we're in it. We're already in it. We've been in it for a long time. The heavy hitters on the outside moving through Capricorn. So it's Jupiter that makes everything exaggerated. Whatever it's working, it's exaggerated, with Pluto, the deep unconscious in Capricorn. So it's systematic and systemic reworking of systems is Saturn. So Saturn, systemic reworking, rewiring, etc. Very infrastructural level at our subconscious in big ways. So that translates simply to lots of change that's coming from the inside out in ways that might be guided by our subconscious. So it's that are guided by the reworking of Pluto, and that's going on all year. And so then right now it's going to heat up with the Mars square. So we can all feel it. It's not like it's not like just a peace, love moon in the sense of just the, if the rest of the astrological happenings were mellow, this moon would be just kind of like a dream moon in relation to just like, feeling like you're getting ready for, in the northern hemisphere, autumn, and all the things that autumn provokes within you, while doing so really artistically and really letting go. In Pisces is about letting go and returning to source, returning that which we no longer need artistically to source. So if that's said, hi Gracie. If I'm wondering, Fern, if I have the liberty to tell me if this seems accurate. This grand reworking is happening, period. But right now, we can enhance it and really nourish our forms of our houses and our real physical things, but also nourish the subconscious process that's happening by making house, by going through clothing, or by making food, and by doing it really aware of what feels good intuitively, to intuitively go through and get, maybe donate clothes, or intuitively create meals, and be aware of, while, like for me, while I'm doing domestic activities, I'm very aware of what's going on intuitively and in my brain, and that a deliberate letting go of what's already gone from 2020. So much has happened, and so to have this time be a deliberate letting go while making home will work the whole process that's going on a bigger level and nourish the body right now.
Yeah, I like that. I think that fits a lot with what's happening with the cosmos. And as you're talking, what's coming to mind is that a lot of the astrology that's unfolding in September is very reminiscent of the astrology that we experienced in March. And as we all know, March is when COVID really came out, and especially to the rest of the world. Before that was in China, but we really became aware of it in March. And what was going on then is that Mars was in Capricorn, cardinal sign, and it was activating Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, also in Capricorn. It's what's called a conjunction in astrology terms. But now Mars is in Aries and also cardinal sign, but it's going to be creating a square to Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn. And we already had that earlier with Mars made its first pass through Aries, but now it's going to be retrograding and doing that once more. So we are going to have a chance to revisit our actions and, rethink how we use our bodies, our will, our power with Mars. So it is this kind of reconfiguration of all of our of the way we use our energy, basically. Mars involved. And so what you're describing, I think, can be a really useful practice at this time.
And there's an element where things need to fall apart right now.
Yeah.
That's just not fun. There's when something we love, we were just talking beforehand, and both of us had housing things. Like I was doing a remodel, and it's just not working the way I planned, and that's fine. It just takes a minute to reset and come back to accepting what is with full a full welcome hug,
Yeah.
even if what isn't what we desire, and to lean into Pisces for that.
Yeah, and thank you for that reminder, because I think one of the, the key words that I did not bring in, I think, with Pisces is trusting in spirit, trusting in the benevolence of the universe, of the divine, of God or goddess, whatever you want to call it, but just really feeling into that as we go through this time, and trusting and allowing.
Mhm.
Thanks for that reminder.
Yeah, I feel like for me, Pisces in its strength is trusting. There's a lot of unconditionality. So unconditional love, forgiveness, I see as an easier Pisces trait. Uh, Union with spirit, like divinity, union with divinity of self and other. The boundaries between self and other start to meld. And that feels really nutritious right now. Oh, loss too. The loss, like really letting go, but loss is a form of letting go.
Yes.
And all of that is very good medicine to drink. And a lot of my work is based on practical magic. Like that's what I do for my living. And so to bring some suggestions in, to even in having a beverage like a lemon water, to while I'm drinking it, to think of what I'm drinking in, think of what I'm releasing, even with my breath, just an in breath. What am I inhaling? What am I exhaling metaphorically? And so I can be an embodiment of the release process, of letting go, of giving back to source, of simple things of like, I breathe in, I notice my fear, I exhale, I trust, I
Mm.
trust, I trust. And that, but to systemize things a little, like for Virgo's sake, like for me, it'd be a time where I make sure, well, this week I'm trying to bring back a little more discipline, because my like exercise, eating, drinking, etc. discipline went off. And that's so my discipline of not just working out my body out, but when I'm working out, being super conscious of what I'm releasing and what I am grateful for and what I have choose to place my hope in.
Yeah.
And then to make a healthy meal, because it's like shifting into Virgo, taking care of oneself.
Yeah.
Do so, the more artistic and intentional and intuitive it is, the the more you will be nourished, and the process of reconfiguring will be enhanced.
Yes. And also, one thing I would add to that, because the full moon as an opposition of two planets, oppositions always call for integration of the energies. So, making sure that we're kind of have a balance of both of them. And so the Virgo piece too, I see as Virgo is a sign of discernment. So when you look at the image that a lot of people associate with Virgo is the woman holding a shaft of wheat and separating the wheat from the shaft. She's holding that bundle of wheat, and so Virgo has that ability to discern what is really nutritious and nourishing, and what needs to be kept in the body. Virgo rules the digestive system. So what do we keep and absorb into ourselves to, vitamins to take care of us, and what do we let go of? So during this full moon, well, there's the Pisces piece of trusting and letting go and connection to spirit. There's also the opportunity to get really clear on what it is that we want. What is nourishing, what is essential, what do we want to keep, and what do we want to let go of. So the process you're describing, just with sorting through your house and stuff, and that, I think that's really goes with this the meaning of this lunation.
And to bring intention into it. And it's a ritual for me. Cleaning is a ritual, as I know that when I'm cleaning, I can embody cleaning at a much wider level.
Yeah.
It's just enacted in my habit.
Yes.
And so it's fun. My days are ritual primarily because of practicing intention and imbuing moments with intention. And that's it's a great time to practice that. But also time to be super Piscean and not Virgo at all. Just times where you can just space out. Like a great practice for this full moon would be staring at clouds or floating or just time in bed where you're just resting. It's that or loving, being close to another, of sharing. It's sharing in union with spirit through self, through nature, and through other. That maybe a few times isn't very Virgo-y. That will help that will enhance the magic.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, the sex. So we add your Uranus in Taurus moving retrograde, which is a zapper. Like there's a lot going on in relation to awakening around Taurian themes. But at the same time, it's interesting because the Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus boost trine is very grounding, even though it's kind of a zappy grounding. It still has that element to it. I don't quite get what happens when we put Uranus in Taurus and Jupiter in, if they were a little more stable signs. But is it still a grounding experience if it's Uranus that's in Taurus we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm sensing more of a piece of finding your own sense of stability and embodiment in the midst of change. So we're clearly in a time of great change. The earth is changing, Uranus and Taurus. The earth is going to change. Our systems of stability and structure and comfort and safety, they have already changed. Uranus has been in Taurus for a couple of years and things are really shifting. But this grand trine, I feel like, gives us an opportunity to see the opportunities in the midst of this change, to find some kind of center within ourselves and our own day-to-day environment. So that's why cleaning is good. I'm a Virgo. I think cleaning is always pretty good. But during this full moon, what you're suggesting of cleaning with kind of a magical intention, I think that's a really good practice to do. Even, it doesn't have to be cleaning your own whole house. You could clean one little corner or, clean out a drawer. But doing it with that kind of magical intention, I think could help create the essence of what it means to have a sense of stability and a center in the midst of great change. And there may be other practices to do that too.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I was just thinking, we are needing to relearn interconnection as a species. We're needing to relearn and remember our connection with the earth and the depth and breadth of that experience. And Virgo, the sun in Virgo, is a great time to practice that. I just am wondering with the trine with Uranus in Taurus, that's kind of that has fun potential for awakening a new and very altruistic relationship with the planet, to seed a different way of being in form. And I just had this image of me, or anyone, but I was imagining me walking right outside where I'm looking on the bluff by my house right now, and just being open, having the posture of openness to receive new insight of connection through each step I take. And that relationship with the planet herself is what I intend to guide me, to guide new biochemistry, even new ahas of how to be and how yeah, how to be, that there's availability for insight from the planet right now.
Yes, I like that a lot. I think they're with Jupiter and all the whole kind of triad, the grand triad. There's a lot of opportunity for generosity, for gratitude, for just feeling a sense of abundance for what is present and current in this moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and to let that be that we have new opportunities of experience. It's like when I visit someplace again, this happens a lot with my lifestyle, and I'll visit a place that I keep going to because I have these like trended places that I keep returning to. And each time I return to them, I'm able to soak in more of its beauty because I'm more connected through my practices to the planet. And I believe that's that I have an infinite ability to be nourished and in relationship with the planet. It's just a matter of practicing and saying, hey, I'm a beginner, I want to learn some more things to whatever it is, to be more grounded or to be more loving or to be, you can add more intentions or help me let go, earth. And then the earth will if we ask.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's great. Yeah. Perfect.
Anything else you can think of?
That's it. I think that's it. That's what I got for you.
Everybody, happy full moon.
Yeah.
Fern, it's great chatting.
Yes.
And until next time.
Bye bye, Coco. Bye bye, everybody.